Hello, my lovely Durham friends. Thank you very much for inviting me back to my favourite university, just preempting any adverse reaction that you might give me. Patriotism is a force for good. That's the motion we're debating tonight. And it does seem to me a rather extraordinary motion to be debating. Patriotism is a natural feeling that we all have. I don't think there's anyone in this room who doesn't have a patriotic feeling towards their country. It's like we might as well be debating love. Is love a force for good? Is loyalty a force for good? Is courage a force for good? Patriotism is, in and of itself, a good thing. I was watching this documentary on Netflix the other night, and it was an animal documentary. And I really enjoyed it because it didn't mention climate change once. And it was about these filming animals by night. They had these special kind of light enhancing cameras, and you saw the sort of behaviour of the animals. And there was a family of pumas they followed. I think they live in South America. Pumas, do they? Anyway, and the mother puma was looking after the baby pumas, and you could see the love and the protection that was instinctive in that mother. And in the same way, I think we're like mother pumas towards our country. On the way here, I made a list of a few of the things why we might be happy to be British, those of us who are British. And I came up with a few obvious examples like the spinning jenny, Grand Theft Auto, Magna Carta, Stairway to Heaven, Durham Cathedral, obviously, Durham University, Paradise Lost, the complete works of Shakespeare. And then I suddenly realised these are not really the things that make us feel patriotic. I mean, they're a given, obviously. Yeah. But we don't wake up every morning and think, I won the lottery in life because I was born in the country, or I have emigrated to the country, if that's your case. I live in the country which did all these amazing things. That's not how we feel. It's something much more intangible than that. It's that feeling you get when you listen to the opening bars of Zadok the priest. And they build and they build and they build. You think, how can a piece of music be this good? And you're waiting for that epic moment where it bursts into this triumphant feeling. It's played at coronations, of course. And it's the feeling you get when you sing, I vow to thee my country, or Jerusalem. Jerusalem, we all love singing Jerusalem, don't we? Especially when we're drunk. And you think about these songs, what is it about? They're not, well, they're certainly not Deutschland über alles in der Welt, are they? I mean, they're an expression of I think, real patriotism, as opposed to the nationalism that we talked about earlier, which is, as all well established, is not a desirable thing. But patriotism is a lovely, warm, golden thing. And you think about how strange it is that we should get so moved about this gobbledygook written by a sort of possibly drug-crazed or certainly mentally ill person about whether or not Jesus came to England and went to Glastonbury and stuff. But this mystical gobbledygook stirs something within us in the same way that Zadok the priest does. And isn't it interesting, by the way, that the bloke who wrote Zadok the priest, we think of him as one of ours, Handel, George Friedrich Handel. He was a German, but we've sort of absorbed him into our culture, which I think is a sign of just how generous-spirited we are, how open-minded. Patriotism is a feeling of admiration for a way of life, of values and belief. It's not aggressive like nationalism. Nationalism, I'd say, is active. Patriotism is passive. It just, you feel good about it, but you don't want to go and impose it on other people. For example, I think I care very much about tea. I think it's really, really important that one drinks tea on every occasion. I think we all do, when there's a crisis, drink a cup of tea. But I think it's really, really important that tea is properly made. With leaves, obviously, not out of bags. Although I don't mind builders if that's all you've got. I don't want that Twinings Earl Grey. Don't give me that, okay? And don't give me semi-skim milk either. I mean, that's just Satan's urine. Or skim milk, that's even worse. And make damn sure that the tea has brewed for 4 minutes. What else? Oh yeah, and make sure the kettle is boiled within seconds before you pour it onto the tea. And obviously the milk goes in last, not first. Now, I know that there are other countries in the world, benighted countries, where these things don't matter. You try getting a decent cup of tea in America. The Americans have not got a bloody clue. They drink this crap called Lipton's, which I'm not even sure is tea. It's kind of sort of ersatz tea. You know, it's a bit like the Germans used to drink in the war, the coffee made of acorns. It's that kind of. Tea really matters, and I think most of us here understand that. But that doesn't mean that we want to go and invade other countries to impose our tea-making regulations on them. We know subtly that we are the best. But we don't kind of boast about it. We don't need to boast about it. When Flanders and Swan sang, the English are best, I wouldn't give tuppence for all of the rest, do you think they were trying to make the case for invading France again? Or were they perhaps being gently self-mocking, amiable, as is the English way? Well, no, apparently quiet desperation is the English way, according to Pink Floyd, but whatever. We, I think, in this country, in this splendid country of ours, and God, we're lucky, aren't we? We embody the best of patriotism. We almost didn't need George Orwell to warn us of the perils of nationalism. I think we know instinctively. That's why we generally do the right thing all the time. So I would just merely conclude, having wandered all over the shop, as is my way, that patriotism is a wonderful thing. And I simply haven't yet heard a case being made of the opposite. What I did hear just now was a sort of a lengthy reiteration of Dr. Johnson's statement that patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel, which I don't dispute. I mean, bad people can use patriotism, they can abuse patriotism for false purposes, but that doesn't mean that patriotism itself is a bad thing. Patriotism is good, and I think we all know what we mean by patriotism. I urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to support the motion. Thank you.